Well, blessings, everybody. This is Dale. Thank you so much for joining with me today on the Word Podcast. Boy, we are up to some interesting Proverbs right now, in the 20th proverb. We're at the end of the chapter. We may actually finish the chapter today, but don't hold me to it. Verse 23 says this: "It is a snare to say rashly, 'It is holy,' and to reflect only after making vows." It is a snare. Other translations, English translations, say it is a trap for a man. And I like what the Berean Study Bible says. It is a trap for a man to dedicate something rashly, only later to reconsider his vows. And so sometimes we get entrapped with something. Oh no, I can't part with this. This is holy. This is holy. Or I am going to part with it. This is holy, holy. And then you reconsider what you've done. You actually see this in the New Testament, because a lot of the religionists were doing that. They were not taking care of their mothers and fathers. They had the resources to do it, but they weren't doing it. And they were saying, oh, well, this has been dedicated to the work of the Lord. It's exactly this type of thing. And it's a snare. It's a trap. So beware of that kind of mindset. Oh, what it actually reflects is greed, selfishness, a desire to look pious and to look good, but really hang on to stuff. He says, so don't do that. Be careful with that. Verse 26, another proverb says this: "A wise king winnows the wicked and drives the wheel over them." Whoa. Well, we've seen this before already in this proverb, in this chapter, the 20th chapter, that the wise king, he winnows away the wicked. He looks at the wicked and discerns what is truth and what is not truth. But what is this? That he drives the wheel over them. Well, in our culture, in our society, we're thinking, man, he must have just slammed a car over him or something. No, the New American Standard probably got it more correct by adding a word that's not really there. He drives the threshing wheel over them. The idea is that you're winnowing the wheat. Remember that picture? You throw the wheat up in the air, and the wind will blow away the chaff, that which is not good, and the wheat will fall down. Well, then they take that wheat and they run it to a threshing wheel and crush it to where they can use it. That's the picture that's being painted here. Now, verse 27. "The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all his innermost parts." New American Standard says, "The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all the innermost parts of his being." Of his very being. It is the Lord that does this. The spirit of man is the candle, is the lamp of the Lord. I think that gives us insight into when we say, God said that we're made in his image. This is what defines humans from all of the creatures. Other creatures will have emotions. Your little puppy will be sad. It'll be happy. Right? We'll have things like that. But it's not made in the image of God, and does not have a spirit. The spirit, this is the defining thing. The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord. It's the revelation. It's the shining, the enlightenment, illumination of the Lord. That's what makes each and every human fearfully and wonderfully made, and being made in the image of God. Now, verse 28. Reading from the ESV here first. "Steadfast love and faithfulness preserve the king, and by steadfast love his throne is upheld." Okay, well, that's good. And every time we see that word steadfast love, we have seen it a lot, have we not? Is that word hesed. It is. But it's translated in the King James as mercy. In the New American Standard and Berean and Lexham, it's translated as loyalty. And that's what it's a picture of steadfast love, but it's a steadfast, loyal love. Mercy? Why mercy? Because we have done nothing to deserve it. King James says, "Mercy and truth preserve the king, and his throne is upholding by mercy." New American Standard says, "His throne is upheld by righteousness." Oh, that's interesting. The Lexham says what? Upheld the righteousness of his throne. So the picture is what? That this steadfast love, this loyal love that the king has, and truth preserve the king. Notice it's preserving the king. Well, then what's the king loving? What's the king loyal to? Yeah, the Most High. Exactly. That's the picture that's being painted here. Now, a couple of my favorite verses in all the scripture. Verse 29. The glory of young men is their strength. Okay, well, we can understand that. The glory, that word literally means the beauty, the splendor of young men is their strength. And we know that young men are strong. But, the verse continues, the splendor of old men is their gray hair. Well, there you go. Those of y'all that know me personally know I have gray hair on my head and on my face. Literally got my first gray hair on my 20th birthday. And that was nearly, not quite there yet, but nearly a half a century ago. And so it's an interesting thing because it says the splendor of old men. That word literally means beauty, majesty, splendor, honor. The beauty and honor of an old man is the gray head, as the King James says, and the rest of them say gray hair, is the splendor of the old, the beauty of the aged. So don't ever try to cover up that gray stuff, be you male or female. It is the splendor and the beauty and the wonder and the honor of age, regardless of how old you may be. There's a couple of us I graduated high school with that we were what they refer to as prematurely gray. No. According to the scripture right here, we were just splendorous before our time. Right, Debbie? We were just splendorous before our time. But it is speaking to something. It's speaking to life. Yeah, when you were young, you were strong. You may not be as strong when you're older, but there's a splendor, there's a beauty that is to be honored. And you can start recognizing that when you start seeing the gray that is there. Then the last verse of Proverbs chapter 20, verse 30. Blows that wound cleanse away evil. Strokes make clean the innermost part. What? I love the King James. Listen to this. The blueness of a wound cleanseth away evil. So do stripes the inward parts of the belly. And the New American Standard says stripes that wound scour away evil. The other two, blows of a wound, the Lexman says, will cleanse evil. I think there's a picture right here, what you see with discipline and correction of the rod with the child, spare the rod, spoil the child, that kind of thing right here. That corporate punishment will cleanse away evil, will drive away evil. The stripes do well in the inward part of the belly. There's a correction right there that takes place. Not a misuse, not an abuse. In the way that you see Scripture, and this is just one Scripture that speaks to this, in the way that you see Scripture saying it, that these strokes make clean the innermost parts. I know when you hear the word stripes, strokes, and beatings, you think, oh my. I mean, it sounds like something that's horrific. Well, it is when you're receiving it. But it does something. It is a corrective thing that guides us in the way we need to be guided. I know parents will say, oh, I've never done that to my child. You're doing your child a tremendous disservice, and you're raising them unbiblically. Oh, I know. It nearly sounds heretical, doesn't it? Just pay attention to what the Scripture says about that. And above all, seek the Lord and let Him guide you and watch what He does. Well, again, I'm Dale. Thank you all for your time. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.